In the summer of 1993, nearly 4,000 people gathered in Washington, D.C. to meditate. That's it. They weren't protesting, they weren't lobbying the Congress, they just sat in silence. And according to the study, violent crime in the city dropped by over 23%. No extra police, no policy changes, just people meditating together. Sounds like something from a sci-fi novel, right? Well, this is real, and it's a part of something called the Maharishi Effect. And today we are diving into one of the weirdest and most controversial studies in the modern consciousness science. So, can collective meditation really change society? Or is this just a really elaborate coincidence? Let's investigate. Here's the big question. Can human consciousness, just thoughts, focus, and stillness, actually influence the world around us? We're gonna explore what Maharishi Effect actually is, what happened in that summer in DC, what the science says, and where does it all get really complicated. Because yeah, there are some wild claims here, but also some data worth looking at. So, the Maharishi Effect comes from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the guy who brought transcendental meditation to the West. Beatles fans, you have probably heard about him. He believed that when enough people meditate, especially together, their inner peace creates outer peace in society. Less stress, less aggression, and less crime. And there's a number attached to this. The claim is that when 1% of a population practices transcendental meditation, then whole population benefits. And if they used an advanced form of transcendental meditation, called the Transcendental Meditation CD program, supposedly you only need the square root of 1%. For Washington, D.C. in 1993, that came out to just under 4,000 people. So that's what they did. Here's how it went down. In June and July of 1993, about 4,000 trained meditators came to Washington, D.C. They meditated together every day for several weeks. The goal was to lower the city's violent crime rates, specifically HRA crimes, homicide, rape, and aggravated assault. Now, before the study began, the researchers made a prediction. They said crime would drop by 20%. And what actually happened according to their report? A drop of 23.3%. And not just some fluke, they said. They controlled for variables like temperature, weather, weekend effects, presence of police, and even seasonal patterns. And the claim is the odds of this happening by a chance were less than 2 in a billion. That's a huge result. So, is this proof? Well, let's pump the brakes a bit. Here is where it gets tricky. Yes, the study was peer-reviewed, but it was published by researchers and scientists already involved into the transcendental meditation movement. That's not automatically bad, but it does raise questions. Also, correlation is not causation. Crime rates fluctuate. DC had major issues in the early 90s. Gang violence, drug epidemics, and other external factors might have played a role. There's also the issue of replication. No other independent team has repeated this study at the same scale. And yeah, one of the lead researchers actually got an Ig Nobel Prize for it, which is like a satirical version of the Nobel. So it's not slam dunk science, but it's also not nothing. Here's why I don't think we should just laugh this off. This wasn't the only study. There were similar ones in cities like Merseyside, Manila, Delhi, and Rhode Island that reported similar drops when 1% of the population meditated. And even outside of transcendental meditation, we know that meditation by itself can reduce stress and aggression, improve emotional regulation, and boost empathy and pro-social behavior. So maybe it's not that meditation is sending out some mystical energy field. Maybe the effect is more social than psychological. Maybe calm people influence the people around them. Maybe a large enough group shifts an emotional tone of a city. Subtly, but measurably. There's a term in neuroscience for this called emotional contagion. And yeah, that's a real thing. So, where do we land? The idea that people sitting in silence could lower crime rates across a whole city sounds absurd. And yeah, the science needs more scrutiny, more neutrality, more replication. But also, we underestimate the power of collective states. Emotions ripple, stress spreads, and peace and calm, that spreads too. So maybe the Maharishi effect isn't magic, but maybe it's not totally crazy either. Maybe meditation doesn't fix society, but maybe it shifts something. Slowly, quietly, but meaningfully. And maybe, just maybe, a little more silence in the world can make things better than what we expect. So, what do you think? Could collective meditation actually change things? Or is this just a beautiful idea with not enough evidence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear where you stand. And if you want more deep dives in science, consciousness, and weird but possibly true ideas, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!